Alright, hello everybody. This is Worf 26, and I am bringing you my review for the 80s classic The Breakfast Club. Now, I think most people today, would say that this is one film that would definitely define the 80s. At least when I think about the 80s, I think a lot about, The Breakfast Club or anything that John Hughes had produced or directed. Because he just had such a great, idea of what the 80s are about. And so obviously this film is a Johnny Hughes film. It was from the year 1985, and it's an amazing movie if you've not seen it. I know for me, it's probably one of my top 3 favorite movies of all time. And it has a great cast. It has Ali Sheedy, Emilio Estevez, Judd Nelson, Anthony Michael Hall, I believe? Yes. Okay, now, so what I'm going to start doing with each movie review is I'm going to present a number of interesting facts about whichever film I'm reviewing. So, for now, I'm going to start with The Breakfast Club. It'll definitely shed some light on some of the interesting, I guess, facts surrounding the film. Now, first off, the role that was Judd Nelson, which was Bender, was originally considered for John Cusack and Nicolas Cage. Now, Nicolas Cage did not accept the role due to scheduling conflicts, and John Cusack wasn't their first choice. I believe Judd Nelson was just a better fit. He definitely portrayed Bender, I guess, in a more accurate description as to what they wanted. So that's interesting to know. Also, the school that was used in the film has been used in a number of films. It's also been used in Fast Times at Ridgemont High. The school was also used in Ferris Bueller's Day Off and the film Uncle Buck. So that's interesting to know. Along with that, there was also the film itself, The Breakfast Club. It was actually written in just a matter of 2 days. So imagine what a great film this is, and the fact that it was written in just 2 days is pretty cool if you think about it. And also to that end, there's a few other facts that I have. Rick Moranis was originally considered for the role of the janitor, and he turned it down. So it was given to another actor, but Rick Moranis was originally supposed to be in the film, but he turned it down. So that's interesting to note. Also, the film itself, the song Don't You Forget About Me, which was done by Simple Minds, was originally offered to Billy Idol, but Billy Idol didn't want to do the film. He just, or the song for the film rather, he just thought it was too commercial. And, I still think that the song Don't You Forget About Me probably wouldn't have sounded the same with Billy Idol doing it. That's just my opinion. So, another interesting fact is that Molly Ringwald was originally considered for the role of Ali Sheedy's character, but she turned it down. And Ali Sheedy actually stated that she was happy she didn't get the role of Molly Ringwald's character because she could not have done the character of the princess. She just felt it was better for her to portray the freak. So that's just a few interesting facts about the film. Okay, so here is the continuation of my film review for the film The Breakfast Club. Now, I don't want to give too much away about the film, but what it entails is it's a group of students who are part of different groups, as you would see like in any school. Like for me growing up, there was always like the different like groups of people that would stick together, like the jocks, the freaks, the I guess the snobs, the brainiacs, the nerds, whatever you want to call them, and then of course the outlaws. So this film, it's not just about the fact that those are those different groups that are, like, I guess, almost, like, always non-existent to one another. The film itself describes how all members of these different groups actually, like, get along and find out that they have more in common than they would have originally thought. Just because you're somebody who's considered a nerd doesn't mean that you could, like, relate to something that a jock or, like a outlaw or badass could go through. And to me, it's a film about unity and, building friendships and bonds with people that, you otherwise would ignore. And the story itself really defined, like, how a lot of us, would see, like, high school. And how for some of these people they had more in common, with these people than they had thought, and it was just something that you could relate to. I think most people could anyway. And the synopsis of the story is that these five people are all forced to do detention. I guess it was supposed to be just for one Saturday, but it started to be where they were, starting to, enjoy being around each other. So they would do things together, like get in trouble and like, sort of defy the rules of what was considered right or wrong in school. And like I said earlier, it showed so much unity between these five characters. And I don't think if you had any other actor portray these characters, I don't think it would have like meshed as well as it had. Because it really felt like this group of actors, they portrayed the characters so well. And I think, like I said, all of us can relate to some of these characters, and that's what's so great about the film, is that you can really see like the personalities and what they offer to each person in the group. And for me, it's just definitely a film that I love this film. It's such an amazing film, and if you've not seen it, I would just say give it a chance and just watch it, even if it's for like the 17th time, the first time, 100th time, whatever. It's just a film that, even for me, like I can watch this film knowing it's 32 years old and still have it relate to what goes on in today's society, which is great. You can't see a lot of films that hold the test of time as this film does. And without giving away too much, like I said, there's really a lot of good, strong messages in this film, and it's directed by the late great John Hughes, who was just he was just such an amazing director. He had such vision for what, like, he had an idea, and he put everything he had into what he was doing, like, and I think a lot of his own personal experiences contributed to what this film became. And to me, it's an absolute classic. And if I'm to really give this film a rating out of 5, I would give it a solid 5 out of 5. It's that good of a movie.
So that's my film review for the movie The Breakfast Club. I hope you enjoyed the review, and I would recommend watching The Breakfast Club if you've not seen it yet. For me, it was just something that reminded me of like what the 80s were about, and also what school was like growing up. Like, it's very definitive of what high school was like for so many of us. I mean, that group that, you got the jock, you got the freak, the outlaw or the badass, you got the brain, and then you have the princess, which was obviously Melody Ringwald. And it's just symbolic of what school was like growing up for so many of us. And I really just hope that some of you come and appreciate the film for what it is. And for me, it's just a staple in, it's a staple in great filmmaking. So, again, this is Worf 26, and I hope you enjoyed the review.
A princess and a criminal. Does that answer your question? Sincerely yours, The Breakfast Club.